started here while we'll do this. We're all present. Call to order the November 13th meeting of the Weare Conservation Commission. We are all members present here. To my left, we got Michael and Lori and Steve and Sherry to my right and Bill, and I'm Andy Fulton, the chair. So at 7:02, we will start our meeting. Is there anybody who would be willing to take some minutes for the meeting?
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that.
Thank you, Michael. While I'm looking through the mail, if you just wouldn't mind rounding the table on issues, things you think we ought to have a look at tonight. Maybe starting with Michael over there. Anything for the agenda?
No, I reviewed the budget email we got today.
Right. Mm-hmm. Just got that from Beth. Lori, anything special for tonight?
No.
And I'm going to jump to the other side of the table. Bill?
All set?
And Sherry?
All set.
Steve?
What's the general kind of annual business? The Beth had asked for the Warren article, so we're going to have to do the forestry one.
Yeah.
The Board of Selectmen never responded to the SOW and the setting up a joint meeting, so I assume we're still just plugging along with Jeremy for now. When we sent that out.
Yeah.
Never
Yep,
paid
I think we are. Yep, continue, keep getting the job done.
And
Chuck Street, is that you?
Yes, that is as
Okay.
well.
and we got
All right, I'll lay that one there.
I don't know if we had a bill for the mowing or if they
have
just
not
went ahead
seen
and
it yet.
paid that. I called that in.
Yeah.
Has he mowed?
Yes, yeah, I got knocked down a month ago.
Yeah,
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 I
give 'em a
hadn't
call,
known
yeah.
that.
So I don't know if they're just, does that usually come back to us or they just pay it because it's so small? I mean, it's not really a big bill.
I don't know of anything that
I don't remember
gets paid
signing off on it.
without our signature, without you or me or whoever we designate to have a look at it.
Yeah.
So, one spot would be we could check with Beth on that.
Yeah, I never
See
got an email.
if an invoice has come in. I haven't seen anything yet. And if we haven't received something, I guess a note or something would be what we need to act on.
Yeah, and I guess the only other real agenda item was just the, remember that whole opinion from LGC that talked about who really has the authority when it comes to town forest decisions?
Mm-hmm.
So that never really got kicked. I mean, that was an attorney. We have an attorney. We've never seen anything in writing from our attorney, but I mean, that was pretty concisely written.
Yeah, we haven't gotten anywhere on that. So we have a few things to talk about. We do have a minimum expedited before us with Artsman, name again?
Neil Semple. You'll see a lot of me this winter, I guess.
Able to talk about that.
Yeah.
We have carryover of an item that came up over the summer that I'd like to address, and that is the prospect or the offer of the Champy property up above Chipmunk Falls. That is still on the table, and I'd like to have a discussion on that tonight and a decision on next steps, if any. Certainly something to get back to John and Cora with regards to that property up there.
That's nice.
So, I think hopefully, I won't say, but hopefully we'll be able to expedite and get right through things tonight. But Neil, why don't you come on up and
I'll give you the
give us the lowdown on
spiel here.
Yep, what you're working on.
So I'm Neil Semple, I work for Siciliano. We represent the Snyders here down on
Horace Lake, I'll probably, you know, I mean, you guys have seen a million of these, a lot of pages and tax maps. I'll probably show you too. I have copies, you can get them signed up. I'll just show you probably the easiest way is to look at the, if you look at the photos, they pretty
Okay.
much say a lot, so you guys wanna look at them. You can see, just recently because of the drawdown.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you see right here, this is the retaining wall in question. It's an old water rubble with a concrete cap, and and that's where the water drawn down is normally. When I was here first to do the work, before they drew the lake down, the water level's right along there. You can see that, you know, the stairs go to the water. So they like to pull it up and replace it, reusing the stone they have there, you know, and then probably have nets on, because it's rolled out. So, this is pretty straightforward, you know, pretty straightforward plan here, so.
What's the primary function of that wall?
It's
Just a landscaping feature?
well, it holds a slope back there because it's a fairly steep bank there. You know, it's been there for a while. It also it provides you know, an anchor for the docks for a dock at one point and for a ladder to access the egress, probably watercraft, I would imagine. So it's an existing. So like I said, they're looking to.
The road's right there, huh? Is that the road on the other side?
No, the road's up the top. There's
No, is this on the other side of the lake?
Oh yeah, that's probably the beach across area, East Shore Drive.
Yeah.
So you're looking over at the beach across the way in Collins Landing, kind of up around the corner from there. Yeah, if you look at the tax map, okay, yeah, so you can just see, you know, basically, this is where it lies here, and you know, it's an existing position here. You know, construction poles. You can get the silt fence. You can see the water's drawn down nicely there too, so you can get nice silt fence in, you know, they're getting from the top, and should be pretty straightforward. Clean it up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, it's a replacing kinds. They're not proposing any additional.
No change to grade with it?
No. As you see, it kind of just sits off. It sits pretty nicely off the end right now. It's just kind of just collapsed over the years, as though, you know, the substructures kind of cut down. So just to make it a little.
So on regular lake full level, or the typical water's lapping at the wall?
Yeah, it comes up against it. It's pretty much right at the edge of there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's when I saw it earlier. That's what it was when I saw it the first time this year.
Yep.
Take some pictures.
It's like on the drawing, Art's got the actual reference line, which I think is the correct elevation. That's where the state ownership goes to. So how does that work where the actual structure is probably on state land and then the rest of it? I mean, so he's showing the reference line there.
Yeah, it is on, this is going to DES as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's some sort of, you know, you have the high water mark where they own, you know, below, but I think, you know, you have some, you know, that would be, technically, I think if the top of the wall is the top of the wall out of there.
No, he's got, the 659 is the actual,
Standard dam.
yeah, that was their rights was up to that.
Yeah.
And that thing's only sitting down at like, I don't know, it's definitely, 656 is right above it.
Yeah, so that it's right in there. It runs right up against it. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
something, I'm sure there's something to do with all the time. This is gonna go, after I get done with you guys, get you signed, I have to take this to DES for them to.
What's the,
Yes.
haven't seen here yet, what's the proposed top elevation of the wall?
Let's see on his one, I don't know. It's to conform to whatever it was, so I'll have to look and see it. You know, the existing wall, rear 2 to 3, well, 45.
Right, so that was right across, was the,
Yeah, it's 650, he says 652 plus or minus.
is that top or base?
I think that's gonna be the base of the wall.
With some variability.
Yeah,
Understood.
it is. I think they're gonna hold what it was there, but like I said, as you look at that picture, the whole thing, when I did my
Looks
field.
like there's a
Yeah, when I did my
section to
field
it,
work on
yeah.
it, it was kind of, you know, it's come, you know, away from the shoreline and sunk down. I mean, so, you know, ideally, the footprint's gonna be the same, and you're gonna match, you don't wanna grade, you know, match whatever that grade is coming out, so you don't have you don't have a situation where you have water pooling behind there and, you know, any
Right.
material moving there. So, so it'll probably, grade out. I think, you know, the intention is to not, they have a pretty full yard there now, so that they're not reinventing the wheel here. They're not trying to, like, you know, build it and fill another.
Yeah,
Get another 5-6 feet of backyard or something like that.
Oh, another 10 inches and it'll
It's,
be
well,
pretty.
you know how these lakes, you know how the lakes are. Everyone, you know,
Yeah.
I always laugh. Art and I have done a lot of lake lots over the years. You know, I say lake jobs are our specialty, but
It's the only place where you can have 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
1,000 feet of frontage and get 11 lots, you know, with 100 with 100 feet, you know.
Well, and probably about 1,100 inspectors.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody on the lake watching you,
Yeah,
so.
well, then we get your pin cushion corners out there, like I said. So it's basically just a nice, you know, it's an improvement to the existing condition, I guess is the way I would put it forward. It's not really an addition to anything
Right.
as opposed to bringing it back up to
Yep.
where it was.
What's the count on permit application forms you have? How many do you have tonight?
I have 5, and I need you guys to sign 5, and then,
And this is one and the same?
no, Chuck Street's entirely
They're
different.
entirely different property?
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing, are you up here tonight? That's a dredge and fill for a driveway.
Yes, he'd been in with that, one of the last.
So that's just our, oh, that's just
Yeah,
our
you're probably
copy
just
of it?
reviewing that for the
Okay.
planning board. It's a re-subdivision and a dredge and fill, a crossing off of Chuck Street. That's another one. I'll be here for that one too. I spent all winter on that one last year.
That one, did that already go to DES?
Um,
Art, I'm not remembering. Art was in,
yeah, I'm gonna
Art was
have
in
to-
with
I'm gonna-
something last
I'm
month.
pretty sure I'm pretty sure we did do that one, because I remember pulling the, doing the officer, I remember
All
pulling
right,
the.
so that might be
This one,
our-
because I did drop, is that which one
our
I did
copy
drop?
of the completed
Yeah,
application.
it might be back for you guys to, because I know we're going in front of the planning board with that one this month, so, or if they pass these, yeah.
Yeah, that's just a copy.
Yeah,
That's
so you
what
guys,
we
yeah,
already
that one,
signed.
yeah, we ran
Okay.
around in there, you know.
Well, that's tuck that one up there.
I see, remember doing
Well
that
said.
one. Didn't remember dropping that one off too, that one.
Yeah.
So I have to catch up with, I guess, catch up with the town clerk tomorrow and have her sign off on, leave you, and then you
Can I
guys.
see the other 4 copies?
One's there,
All right, they're going
one's
around?
there,
And we're.
two's there.
Have those
Page
two?
5, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you got the plans. And like, and then as I looked at the distribution, it just circles back to you once everyone signs off on it anyway. So
Which is,
a copy circles back to you after
Yeah.
from the town hall, from the town clerks. So nothing real, no big showstopper here.
so it's probably springtime work?
Well, it has to be done, no, I think, no, it's gonna be start, no, it's gonna start immediately upon, well, that's what we're rushing this in, they're gonna get in there, they wanna get in while the water's down. Yeah,
Presuming it, right.
yeah, because it's
As
not, it's not, no, no.
as
this is-
expedited, yes.
Yeah, that's
You
the,
get-
yeah,
you get-
that's the expedited.
You get through
Actually,
DES right quick.
Actually,
so.
if you look at his grammar was not real great on the disc. It says, upon receipt of the, he was trying to write formals. So upon receipt of the permit, they want to get down there, before, obviously, hopefully before you go to snow gets on the banks and all that too, 'cause it makes it tougher to get the equipment in and out that way.
Yeah.
They'll do what they gotta do. No, now when the water's down, they can get right in there, they can put the silt fencing in right down, we just reach right over.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Neil, how do you spell your last name?
SEMPLE. There's my students across the street, so they call me Mr. Simple. Oh, wow, you better school, make that one up. You guys just make that up? I never heard that. I used to teach over there a couple years ago. Before I came back to doing this again.
So, how is this 20 feet from the adjacent property lines?
It's not, there's a note that says it's within 7 feet, but no, there will be no disturbance.
Yeah, it says 7 feet of the water.
It should say 7 feet, but I read something about it.
Work is 7 feet, yeah, property line, but there is no water. So,
There will be no, they don't, the wall ends, so if you look here, I can even show you pictures, I got pictures of my phone of me down here. So there's a fence that runs right here, a tight fence, this guy's here, and there's like a 7-foot
And then-
undisturbed bank between here and this guy's corner there, and the retaining wall comes well short of that, that's natural banking with some large white pines in it and stuff like that, so all the work, there's no runoff that goes that way, or there's no.
Right there.
Yeah, that's it right there, so yeah, I have other pictures if you didn't want it first straight out shot, but yeah, so there's really no runoff that's going that way, so they're just gonna keep, you can tow in that silt fencing right before it gets there.
yeah, I
and
just
that'll
don't,
tie it.
I don't think you guys complied with D is all I'm saying. I don't think you have written concurrence in the abutter, do you?
Written what, which one's that?
I don't know, you guys read this and just see how you take that. When you're on the conditions and
Page are you?
signature, Page 4, it looks like. Projects is at least 20 feet from a budding property line or imaginary extension thereof over surface water unless it receives written agreement from the affected abutter. You don't have that.
Okay,
So it'd be an incomplete package, unfortunately. Art put a note in there about that,
Because
but he
there's
didn't get the
also,
abutter to
on
agree.
page 7, it says permission for work within 20 feet of a budding property line or imagining extension thereof, so they still
Yeah.
need written agreement on that one.
With a
too.
neighbor, yeah.
Yes,
So where you said, page 7, you said?
yeah, the top of page 7 and D of page 4.
Oh, 7.
So I think it's just,
I think to
I think it's
protect
okay, but it's
yourself.
it's
But
incomplete.
make sure you get that,
Yeah, I mean,
in
I may have
place.
to, that may be something I may deal with tonight, because before I even drop it off, I may have to go out and see if they're available.
I mean, we could take a vote maybe to sign it contingent upon, like, getting that, so you don't have to wait till the next meeting or anything. Just have,
Yeah, I can include, it would be, well, it would be included back, I'd make sure I got it included back with the packet before the town clerk circled it back to you. But yeah, because I know she's trying to get, I think that was the point of getting in here, to not have to go the 30 days, but we could not have it.
you know what I'm saying? I could just make it, I mean, we could do a vote contingent on you submit, like, get it to Andy and get him to sign. I just wouldn't feel comfortable personally. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want, but, signing off on something we know is incomplete.
no, I agree with you.
No, I don't want to get held, I don't want to get bounced up back from the state level anyways, because I also, you know what I mean, so.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to, hopefully avoid having to come back in 30 days now, because we're, this window kind of
Closing in.
is closing.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to. I mean, if we vote contingent, so you guys getting
Yeah,
that.
but I'd probably get that before I even, before I even have dropped the copies back off to get signed by her. I'd probably have to do that first, because I'd want to have that, because that would have to complete that application, because you don't actually get the one, you get one from DES probably too, but you get one that circulates back, distribution for.
Let's just get a note of,
It says
Application
it
receipt.
has a distribution list for
Yeah.
your town clerk, and they said, but whatever. I wanted it, it's gonna have to be in there before I even run it to the state, so.
Hopefully that neighbor's all right with it.
Oh, you never know. I say I'm
No?
sure, but you never know how it is on lakes, you know what I mean? You know, sometimes people get along great. I
Yeah.
mean, again, it's not, it's a very, like you said, he's got a pretty distinct property boundary there. That doesn't look like a lot of, no one's called us to do a boundary survey recently.
Yeah.
Mark the lines. Hopefully they get along. There's not a lot of space between houses.
Yeah.
We hope your neighbors get along well if you have that type of community. That's like just up to Art's house is right down the road from this too. So.
I'd like to make a motion that Andy sign it if it's submitted back with a complete package with that missing abutter agreement, because I think that's all that's missing.
I'll second that.
all right, we have a motion duly seconded, so to be in discussion, Steve, you're suggesting send it all away, and then Neil and I get together at some point to put the signature on once he's
Got the letter.
picked up the
Abutter
agreement. It's
yeah.
Yes,
Your only other option is to back the, if there was disagreement, then you'd have to back the construction off to 20 feet.
Right. If it doesn't,
so
yeah.
it
I
could
mean,
go either way.
if we run into a problem, that's gonna
Which
probably
is
change the
gonna
whole.
change
I'm-
the
I'm-
wall and all
well, see,
that.
my hope is that my client discussed this with his neighbor before he.
Yeah, it's only 13 feet.
Yeah, you know what I
It's
mean,
not
so
like
I,
that.
and he's not building, it's like he's building some new dock with, a bunch of
yeah.
lights and disco balls out there, whatever.
Certainly, pretty easy to find me at my place of work.
Which is, what do you work?
DES.
What's that?
DES.
Oh, okay, so you're, so I can find you there when I'm dropping it off.
I'd be fine with that motion if it approves,
Yeah, I can just-
as soon as Friday, presuming it's gonna take a little.
Yeah, I would like to
maybe
get it,
the
I was
date-
hoping to get it tomorrow, but I'll probably get, the problem with that, let me just run this one by though, quickly to how I'm gonna, I guess I could just have to run back. I would have to get you to sign it, but then I'm gonna have to get the town clerk to sign it as well, so then I'm gonna have to get it, you at DES, and then get back to
I know.
here, and then get back, which is fine, I live out that way anyways, and
Yeah.
I get paid.
Yep,
What are the hours for the town clerk tomorrow? They half a day?
I don't know.
Thursday? Yeah. Aren't they a half a
1
day tomorrow?
o'clock.
I would say I'd probably push this till Friday, you know what I mean?
Well, just so you know,
Yeah,
because it'd
yeah,
be
thanks,
no
thank
fun
you,
if
'cause I don't know
you're
the- I don't
over
know the
here
town.
and
Yeah,
they're
I
not
don't-
there.
I don't live in Weare, so yeah, I've got a guy coming in to work with me, in the field tomorrow anyway, so. I'd
Got
probably-
something I can put my number on so you can give me a
Yep.
call?
Yep, that'd be great. And then I would do that, I'll just save, I'll get out of work early on Friday. I had to go running around.
Well, we better vote on that first.
We will.
Yeah, because I'm gonna go home.
Once again.
These get late. This weather is taking its toll on me pretty quickly. It's like all of a sudden you're.
All right, so we have a motion. You clear on the motion?
I could hear it again.
Okay, let's just
So
hear it
it's
again.
essentially, you know, the motion is to authorize Andy to sign the permit by notification contingent upon a complete submittal, which includes the butter agreement to work within 20 feet of the property line. Because otherwise, it's my explanation is, it's an incomplete package right
Yeah.
now.
And both page 4 and page 7 require that. so-
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I definitely,
Yeah, because Art's he recognized the problem, but
right, but I don't think he probably did, he just probably did.
This
he-
back,
yeah,
or
I
do we
know.
need this?
He probably just didn't get the written permission. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? As opposed to saying, there is no impact is one thing, but it actually especially says written permission, just
Yeah.
letting them know that you're.
All right,
Lessons
we've got
learned.
motion, we've got discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. That sounds like all in favor.
All
All right,
I thank you
Neil,
for your
that's all I
time.
had.
All right, we'll, I'll give you a call, and then I'm sure I'll see you again sometime this year.
Good luck.
All right, you guys have a great evening. Stay warm. It's gone from fall to midwinter on us quite quickly.
Hey, newsflash, winter arrives.
Yeah.
It's New
Season
Hampshire,
changes.
guys.
There you go.
All right, everyone have a good evening.
Yeah. You too. Finishing up on another item here with Art's last minimum expedited. There is an item missing from the previous package. This is October 14th, DES correspondence on the Chuck Street property, let's see. Map 409, lot 154.2. NHDES's GIS screening of your application reveals that your project is located within a designated river corridor. Therefore, you are required to provide written notice of the proposed project to the local River Management Advisory Committee, completing number 7B designated river. So that was a note that went to the applicant, to the town, to Art, to Piscataquag River LAC, and the Rivers Program. So that was known about. Hopefully, hopefully it was taken care of on this one. I didn't notice. So that one had an additional item that needed to be addressed.
There's a
I
lot
guess-
on those checklists, huh? You go rolling down through.
Um,
Completeness.
That's interesting. The Natural Heritage Bureau on that apparently says this project is not within a designated corridor.
Oh, really?
So 7B is checked off as not applicable. So I do not know how that was resolved, but apparently one says one thing, another says another thing.
That's unfortunate, huh?
I don't know whether maybe the first time round that part was just missed or maybe it was checked and there's disagreement. I don't know. So things that can hold up work. But we did what we were required to do with it. Other Wetlands Bureau or land management issues, there's a shoreland impact permit that came in for Lake Shore Village Realty Holdings for property on Cottage Road on Lake Horace map 103, lot number 6. I do not,
Is that the beach enhancement?
no, Rich, what, right off that, this was an impact of 18,525 square feet. In order to remove Unit 3 and replace with a new unit on the same footprint, install a new septic system near Unit 3, and install a new leach field near Unit 19. Install new septic tanks, sewer line, and pump chambers for units 1-9, 14, 15, and 20.
Wow.
And apparently that was something that Art put together plans for. But it's moving ahead, or at least has a shoreline permit taken care of. All right, that is that. We have a notice from James R. St. John, auctioneers. You're receiving this letter because you own property that abuts one of 7 parcels that the town of Weare is selling at public auction on Saturday, November 16th. Sale will be held in the middle school, and there's a brochure. We got the garage, got the house, that had the fire up across from the church. Got another house,
That's down on River Road.
and then 3, there's a camp with a garage. There's undeveloped 10.29 acre lot along Route 114.
Do we-
Most of the lot is wetland to the front with dry land to the rear, zoned industrial.
Was that voted to allow that to be sold? I thought it was anything over 10 acres had to go to town.
Tom,
I
vote.
think it was.
That
last
one
year.
was last year.
Undeveloped 6.67 acre, undeveloped 5 acre. So it's a much reduced list from what went around last time, right?
Yeah, well, we auctioned a lot of that off.
Yep.
The only one that didn't get auctioned off last year was the house and garage up in North Weare.
Yeah.
What about the one that
Oh,
was,
and the one on River Road too.
the one on 77 heading south? Remember that house? That was a big parcel there.
Yeah.
I think the guy had the illegal wetland crossing.
Mm.
Did that one go on that list or no? Is that still just sitting?
I don't know if that did or not.
Anybody else care to see this?
But
No.
I didn't see the.
I've got a question on that, though. The 20 acres that the town took for taxes on the side of Mount William's property there, on, Mount William Pond Road.
Mount William Pond Road.
Did they buy that back? Because if not, like, to do a warrant article on that one.
I'm not sure.
That'd
if
be a
that-
nice piece of property.
Well, I mean, it butts a lot of open land at the moment, you know. Yeah, I mean, nothing that we have, but it's 20 acres and there's a heck of a lot of undeveloped property around there.
Well, it's not on this, so.
Because when I inquired about it with Naomi, I think she said they were looking to buy it back from the town, but I'm not, like, how quick can that go to auction?
I mean, it can go, for us, if we're taking it for taxes, it's 3 years.
We have to sit on it for 3 years. We've only had it for a year.
Yeah.
I think we've only had it for a year. Need an Avatar's database there.
Yeah.
Just go right on the, you know, the tax kiosk has that map.
All right. You all set? Michael, do you want to see this for what it's?
You want to go back to him? We'll switch.
When was that auction happening?
Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yeah, okay, I thought it was coming up.
Let me see if I can figure out what this one is. We've got a new form from Kelly. Town Aware Departments, please review and comment on the enclosed proposed plan submitted to the Planning or Zoning Board. Please submit your comments or no comments prior to the hearing notice, which is November 21st. Planning Board agenda. This is a new presentation, so bear with me. We have a copy of the October draft planning board meeting minutes. We have a plan for the subdivision that Art brought to us for the minimum expedited. We have a plan for subdivision Tiffany Hill Road. And a condominium phasing plan. Old Mill Road and Whitetail Lane. So it looks like these packaged a little bit different than Chip did. It looks like there are three items that they're requesting comments on. Continuation of proposed subdivision, Peacock Hill Road LLC. Proposed subdivision
Where is this?
and lot line adjustment. Huh.
Yeah.
It'll take me a little getting used to what we're
Is
Yeah,
that at
here.
the top, just
What's
above the top of the
down?
hill?
TMS.
Oh, this must be the one that, got all the junk on it before, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Be a lot of buildings. Are these all storage facilities?
No, commercial.
This one we looked at last month, so I look for.
So, Steve, you're looking at condos that are going to be built?
Yeah, commercial condos.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is, I think, that same, there were a whole bunch of people came in here, upset about all the junk down there and stuff. A while back. I think that's the same parcel.
Is that
That's
the
a-
one in off 77 going into Concord you're talking about?
No, down to Riverdale. I
Oh.
think that was the same guy.
Yeah.
It's a good-sized setup.
Yeah. Aren't there some rules on like pervious? I
They're
should dig into the
supposed to
zoning.
be.
Yeah, there is, yeah, in our zoning, I just,
Shouldn't they be designated on here?
they might be, this is small and very busy. I don't know. Lot going on right there. We only have one copy of this.
Yeah.
They certainly are putting a lot into that small area. Now, this is not part of them, correct? That's somebody else's house and barn? Are there going to be buffers so they don't have to see them?
I have no idea. This is the busiest plan I've ever seen. on a small piece of paper since I've been on the commission. Mike says there's an area where they're gonna have to store the snow that's labeled on the map. It's not labeled, doesn't have his wetland stamp, doesn't have the setbacks labeled.
Can we send it back and tell them that we want a more detailed plan with the setback showing and,
Oh, that's all right, yeah, you can comment whatever you want.
because if they're gonna send out a plan, we should see everything like that on there to make sure that they comply with it.
I don't think this was intended to be looked at this small. Yeah, there's a lot going on with that.
So this is Whitetail Commercial Condominium. Map 412, lot 202.
Remember we got into that whole impervious requirement
Mm-hmm.
on the, what was that, B&B Lane where that came up?
Yes.
That note about like storing snow, it's pretty funny. They're gonna truck it off.
And you certainly don't want it impacting the neighbor's land.
When the snow storage areas are at capacity, subsequent snow shall be hauled off-site, disposed of in an environmentally sound fashion and in accordance with regulations.
Where's that? Is that off River Road?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on the river.
Yeah. So, very southeast corner of town, rivers over
If
here.
that's asphalt and they
Over
salt it,
here, north
and they
of
store it
there.
close to somebody else's land, that can do damage to their land.
Hmm.
And I think we need a more detailed plan.
This is one of the ones where I kind of wish like someone was here to present this. If they don't need anything from us, that's fine.
So is that where they put that, they were all complaining because they clear cut that whole section
Yeah.
off?
Mhm.
That's it.
Oh,
That's it.
that, you know what that is,
So is this,
down there. on
this
the
a
other
new attempt at, or is that doing something that wasn't previously planned for that property and now they're,
Yeah, wasn't there all that like
Yeah, well, that was supposed
stuff
to,
was stored down there?
there was supposed to be buildings put in there, like they were gonna rent out, one building might be rented out, half of it for car restoration and another half is a garage and,
That's what that is, yeah.
Yeah, but they seem to have expanded upon that theory.
Oh, that's what that is.
it's
It's a phased commercial condos.
yeah, that was gonna be sectioned off, so somebody wanted two connecting pieces, like they could have two sections for two garages, like two
Yeah.
bays,
Yeah, you can do whatever you want in there.
yeah.
Yeah, you just need to make sure that the snow storage doesn't affect anybody's property if it melts off. Because if there's salt down there, you can do damage to people's land or else.
Well, it would affect the aquifer.
Yep,
Yeah, it's not even marked on
Salt.
it.
and I would like to see that marked to make sure that they understand what is required.
Oh, he's got a note saying it is marked and they can't find it on there.
Because I think there was an issue with, Goffstown wasn't happy because they were gonna be having runoff from that parking lot going into the water,
Yes,
into the river.
Isn't this the one we went,
And I think that also goes through some short section, that river goes through a short section of New Boston. So New Boston wasn't real thrilled with not being notified either, I was told.
yeah, because remember there's a rule about a project of regional significance where it can kind of kick up the reviews to multi-towns. I'm not ever sure what happened to that.
uses allowed, motor vehicle and equipment sales and service, contractors, builders, plumbers, electricians, carpet, shoe repair and like uses, small engine repair, welding, fabrication. There's existing building, and then additional phases. And yeah, the plan is doesn't show the entire site. So we can't see where the property abuts Piscataquag. But it looks like it does, well, see portions of it, right? I guess the river's
Yeah.
here. But the river also touches, this says North Branch there.
When they send us plans, can't they be told to send us
And I
plans
guess
that
the
are,
river has to
big
be
enough
over
to
here
see?
somewhere too.
I don't know what the submission standard is, right?
Oh, it goes north of that. The river goes up from there. That goes, right? This river goes around.
So we got
isn't
no
it?
wetland stamp, snow storage not identified,
Here, and then it goes up.
wetland
Right,
buffer not
it'll go up,
labeled.
Isn't it?
permeation we're not sure about?
Yeah, the amount of impervious surface not clear.
And were the other two towns notified because there were issues before when we got hit with this?
I think someone has to determine that this project of regional
Yep.
significance.
Right.
So, yeah.
I don't know if that's us, but I think that should be put down there. Because so much has not gone right with this project, we don't need to continue encouraging
Mm.
people not doing their due diligence.
What was it about the impervious area calculation?
Yeah, it's just not, we're not clear whether
Not
it meets
clear.
that or not. Someone should take a look at it.
Going
It's not gonna be
straight,
us.
right?
We don't have the wherewithal to do it, right?
Yeah.
The river here,
Mhm.
River Road up through here.
Right, so where's this
So
water
just
coming
check on it,
from?
you know?
Well, that comes back around. You pick
And
it
goes
back
back
over
up.
Bovia's.
Bovia's, yeah.
Aren't there actual setbacks from the river itself too? State mandates.
Because didn't
I
that
would
come
think
up in our
so.
discussion last year about this?
Wouldn't there be a shoreline permit required?
Yeah. Depending on what they're doing. See, if they slicked it off under just a forestry notification, you can get away with it, but that wasn't really the reason why they were clearing it.
All right.
They left just a few trees down there over the hill by the river.
Yeah, I remember.
Very
going through-
few, and
yeah. Yeah, maybe just recommend that gets sent to, the River Advisory Committee, if it hasn't already, for their review.
Because at no time the neighbors shouldn't be impacted at any time.
That's more of a zoning issue. Unfortunately, you got incompatible zoning down there.
Everybody lives on the other side except this Palmer. Everyone else is on the other side of the river, pretty much, with Smith. They haven't lived on the top of the hill.
Definitely not good. So, I mean, they're not
Alright,
showing any
so-
setbacks.
That's that section of river, that's that section of river, okay.
Primary structures are 50 feet. Accessories are 20. So all lands within 250 feet of the following water bodies are subject to Shoreline Water Quality Protection Act. So I mean, somebody needs to scrub that they're complying with all this. It's all fourth order and greater streams and rivers.
Mhm.
So that's gotta be that. There's actually an interactive map. See if it works on my phone.
Anything else comment-wise on this one?
Oh, here it is right there.
All right.
That's definitely regulated.
Yeah,
So you wanna put something in there about, none of the setbacks are shown from the Shoreline Protection Act.
one plan, let's see here, we have proposed subdivision, tax map 408, lot 58, 207 Tiffany Hill Road, in the rural ag zone. Purpose is to create a total of 2 lots.
And what road was that on? 207.
Tiffany Hill Road.
Did they each get their separate driveways, or are we creating yet another shared driveway? Because was a mess later on.
Well, they got plenty of frontage.
This
They're
is,
showing, there's a woods road on there existing.
this is an art plan. We have a wetland buffer note.
He's got them labeled,
And
25 foot
seems to
buffer.
be labeled.
Mhm. Did he put the note on there that he's exempt under the, he's got his designer stamp on there, but for the wetlands delineation. I forget, what does he stamp with? Does he have wetland scientist stamp, or he uses that exemption thing?
Subsurface, this one, the designer.
Yeah, so he forgot the note for that.
What kind of note does he need?
Says that he's got an exemption for the, it usually calls out the RSA, whatever is right.
I'll pass that down so others can look.
Do you need to see this?
Yes.
So we're
They basically go-
missing Art's note
Yes.
that he delineated wetlands as a certified subsurface designer.
Yeah, it's like an exemption note or something.
Yeah. I think the last one we can say we already looked at for
Yeah, Chop Street.
the wetlands application.
Good size house.
That was the dredge and fill for the driveway. Is that one?
Right.
No, Henry.
Going up this road, heading this way.
Oh, okay.
You see that?
I just remember from last time.
Just above it.
But I don't know how far this is.
Looks like I could play connect.
It's right across from the old place, or...
So this was all wetlands here, and we were concerned, so they are making a driveway. This right here is the driveway.
Okay.
We didn't necessarily want them to continue it here and cross another wetland. They said it was gonna be going here.
So
He
the
came in
house
and
is
talked to
going
us.
here?
That was the plan.
You want this back, or I can
I'm
return
good.
it? Your turn. Next.
Bill and Sherry, any additional comments on that one?
No, I was just trying to figure out where it actually was on
Yeah.
that road.
All right, that takes care of the mail. We do have an invoice
Yeah, $65.
from Meadows End.
Make a motion to pay the $65 for Collins Ledge progress inspection from Conservation.
Second.
Now, this is one that we had previously approved a budget amount for it.
We definitely did for the survey. They're just billing us on the hourly rate. I can't recall what we did on the hourly rate for them to administer the survey
Right.
contract.
So this is from the Conservation Fund.
Yeah, because it's not a town forest.
Right.
This is that thing we're trying to straighten out to deal with
Yep.
Forest Society.
Is there an invoice number on that one?
This is FF dash 110719.1,
Okay.
and that would be erroneous with the FF
Yeah,
because it's
sure.
not town forest.
All right. Any further discussion? There Being none, all in favor of the motion as put on the table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, all in favor.
So I'm gonna stuff it in the mailbox.
All right. Steve, any other items while I'm doing this?
Yeah, just the annual, warrant article for town forest, and then I guess, what's the deal on that 20 acres? Can that be designated conservation land this year or not? To preempt that from going to auction. I suppose we could do a warrant article if you guys want to, and then if we're wrong, we're wrong, you know. Selectmen can decline to
Yeah.
put it on the warrant.
That's property that would be,
Can I pull it up real quick?
yeah, the town should maintain until the 3 years has expired.
Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, I don't know how that would, I don't know how that would work. I wonder if we could word that once the 3 years is expired, it goes into conservation to preempt it. Because if you know, if you're between voting cycles, then the Board of Selectmen could throw it, you know, up for auction without us even having a chance at it.
That would be bad.
Mouse is really sensitive, huh?
Something in the air today. Bill, could you do me a favor so I don't have to walk by you, drop that into Beth's box in the mailroom?
Give me directions. Just across the street.
Yeah, and
Up the alley, turn left.
Yep.
On the left side of the mailboxes, I think, is Beth's.
So it's gotta be this one right there.
And what's the deal with that land right now, Steve?
It was taken for taxes, is my understanding, so,
But they have to wait 3 years in order to do it.
before we can put it up for. And which 20 acres are you talking about?
I can show you. So it's got, there's Hamel,
Is that, oh, at the bottom of, yeah,
William Pond Road. They lost
Yeah.
it 7/24/2018, so already
which,
year and a half
which
in.
one is that? Which Hamel?
Alvin
Alvin?
Jr. and Joan.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he's passed away.
So, I mean, I think what, you know, if it's legal, what I would suggest is that we create a warrant article that says, does the town approve moving this into conservation upon the 3 years?
Shall the town approve to move?
If we
this
can do
parcel?
that.
I don't know. Probably Naomi would know.
Or, I mean, another warrant article, you know, shall the town prohibit the Board of Selectmen from selling this property with the intent of moving it into conservation?
Mm-hmm.
We should do something with it. It's, it abuts, it's on the, kind of on, you know, on the, west side of, between the road and Mount William itself. And then it's got another big parcel next to it with some wetlands.
Kind of down at the bottom of that hill once you start down in, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite a ways down in it. It's got a little bit of funny shape. There's another parcel in here. Ah, okay. But nobody's claimed it, you know.
Wonder if that's something we ought to try town lands discussion with the Board of Selectmen.
Mm.
We've made some proposals in the past that don't seem to have
Fall on deaf ears.
won the day, so to speak.
It's a different board than in the past. I mean, we
Yeah.
could get it on there, you know, you just need enough time. Somebody says no, and we wanna get it on there anyhow, we could put it on there.
You thinking is crafting a warrant for it?
Yeah, I think we should craft a warrant right now, to let them know that we're interested in it.
What's the first date for warrants? Is that going right up here?
They can put a regular one on pretty late, right, into
Yeah,
January.
Sherry,
then.
what's the date on it?
I think you're talking, into December, early January in there somewhere.
That's generally where they do it, yeah.
In that timeframe, or, within a week or two of that.
Yeah.
So if we start playing with it now, we can have it tweaked by mid-December, and that way they're ready to go.
Yeah, and it wouldn't hurt, I don't think, to call Naomi. She'd probably know a little bit more about it, because I haven't heard anything about it.
Because they have to go to the Department of Revenue anyway.
And you can give her a call, and she'll be here Friday for sure. Somebody could just give her a quick call.
So just gonna wait till the next meeting then, or?
What's that, 408, 129?
Yeah, so it was transferred to, it was 7/24/2018. What the Avatar's card said.
Yeah.
So that-
Does it give the previous owner on that, or just their name?
Yeah, family transfer back in 1995.
Yeah, no, that was probably.
Yeah, well, it makes sense to craft that warrant, take a look at it. Talk to Naomi, take a look at it in December and move it forward after this December meeting.
You
Yep.
won't have you may not have a lot of time to, but I mean, it won't take long to put 2 or 3 sentences together, whatever you
Yeah.
need.
I think what I would suggest is getting an opinion on, like from Laura, on when you can actually switch it into conservation. If you do have to go, let the 3 years go, if you can just do it and then someone can still buy it back. I don't know what's up there for timber. Billy, you been up there at all? You got any idea what that looks like?
I'm not sure, Steve.
Yeah.
I know where it is.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't been up in there for years.
I honestly haven't. I
Yeah,
haven't walked it.
yeah. It looks like part of it's on the Mount William line, on the Mount William Inc. property line.
I mean, there was a building that set in just maybe, I don't know if it was
Yeah, I think
100
there's-
feet off the road, maybe.
There's some different right-of-ways up through it.
Mm-hmm, there's some funny shaped properties in there. There's a
Yeah.
couple little inclusions. But then there's a big block like on the back, kind of in towards Mount William. So we should just find out, you wanna send an email just asking, can we put this in conservation now, or do you have to wait the 3 years?
Well, I think they have up to 3 years, but.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. I mean, the town would own it still, but I mean, as far as the town goes, does it have to sit in the category of tax forfeited property?
I think 3.
Yeah, I mean, you can't switch the designation
I don't
for the
think,
3.
I don't think you can, but, I'm not the expert.
Yeah,
Yeah, haven't been involved very long with that, so, but I would, sure that Naomi would tell you one way or the other.
reports on there.
Yeah, I can take that to Naomi and Laura.
You guys guys going to the auction?
Nothing around me, I have no interest.
I'd say they'll both be there.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Ooh,
They've already thrown this on there last year, Mount William Pond Road, 19.53 acres. They can dispose of it. So I think we ought to throw it on there now.
yes.
Huh. So that
408, 129.
that was on last year's article,
Mm-hmm.
having been in town possession for half a year.
Yep.
Interesting.
But
It's
they
only
would-
been in town's possession for a half a year and they're already putting it up?
Well,
no,
seeking
they got the
seeking
approval.
authorization from the town
To be able to auction off a 20-acre parcel.
Right, so I mean, it already got one step ahead of us on that, so
Yeah,
I'd say we
I
ought to throw
mean-
it on there as an article to put that
Because
in
it
context.
sounds like they're rushing into things when they haven't met the deadlines.
or being thorough. It depends
Well,
on
they just wanna
your
get that-
position.
Yeah, they just wanna make sure they've got everything, okay before, by the time it gets to the 3 years.
That's just, yeah.
'Cause sometimes we end up with property hanging on to it for several years afterwards. So, they've done it a lot, so it's good to,
Oh, here's the one with the, that other one I was talking about, just doesn't have a picture. The camp with garage and multiple storage sheds on 10.78 acre lot.
that's down on 77.
Yeah, that's the one with an illegal dredge and fill.
That's a what?
Illegal dredge and fill. That driveway was put right through that wetland with no
Well,
permits or anything.
there was a lot of stuff not done right.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, so we got that one on the radar. Let me see what Laura has to say on it, and,
Well, do we want to draft a warrant article, now in case there's no meeting in December and?
it's certainly, we're available to do that, so.
I mean, just, I would try to preempt them by saying, shall the town authorize parcel containing more or less 19.53 acres designated map 408, 129 on Mount William Pond Road as conservation land. I don't know if we need to add on as soon as,
And do we pay for it, or how does
no,
it?
it just switches over to conservation.
Right in the driveway.
As soon as legally possible or something.
You said authorize, you mean designate?
Yeah, designate, sounds good.
So town designate lot 129 with
At the completion of the 3-year waiting period.
1.53 acres on Mount William Pond Road. Or designate for conservation.
Probably government's very best.
Pending
Where you take it?
pending conclusion of typical or town waiting period, or how would you
Hang
call
on,
it?
I'm just looking up on the,
I don't think people are gonna get that chunky back. Funny what you remember. That kind of sticks out in my mind. Probably only 10, 12 years old. I was very old. Probably 10.
When is the cane?
Huh?
When is the cane?
Monday the 18th.
Hmm.
I talked to Francis today. Look how it's gonna come.
Isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty unusual. I don't think you. She'll come. She just fell and broke her wrist. on the
Tax
road.
deeded property portions and it's a municipal association there.
She said, "I'm not on that year." I said, "Oh, come up, it's only for 15 to 20." But she usually doesn't have a hair out of place. She's always been really neat, pretty.
Yeah, I just don't know what the, if there's such a thing as proper wording ought to be.
Yeah, DRA or whoever they are would certainly know.
Because I know that's
Because
like,
I can make it up and I
You can call Naomi,
can,
but you can
and I-
also call them and they are happy to walk you through the wording on it.
yeah.
They're really good that way. If you need help with that, let me know.
So we're working on a motion to craft a warrant, a proposed warrant article. Then we'll need to second the motion and
Second.
discuss the motion and, I'll let her vote on it, let it fly. We have a motion, but we don't quite have the
no, the
the
actual,
language set that we might motion upon.
let's see if there's a 3-year waiting period. I mean, the big issue is can we designate conservation or not? Sale, right, sale of decks within the 3-year of collector's deed. Collector's deed for not hearing priority. Can have a public use, it may be adjacent to public facility, conservation purposes, or maybe a place for future facility. See, that's, I mean, the 3 years is a sale. If the former owner does not excuse right of redemption, the property is sold as the town can, not if the sale occurs within a 3-year period of the collector's deed. See, I don't really think I think the town's free and clear after the 3 years. I don't think there's anything to stop us making that conservation right now. I would just let it fly and have them tell us no.
Keep it simple.
It's
Yeah.
easier to apologize afterwards.
Or
But no, it's not
Or
gonna
talk
get past
about it.
legal review, yeah, just discuss, but that way, they know we want this thing, or we might want it, depending on whatever
Right.
the outcome of the vote
would
is.
the warrant be clearer if it included language such as said lot having been taken for unpaid back taxes on July 24th, 2018?
No,
No,
I don't think
people
so.
get confused.
It's just taking town
What?
land and designated it,
You're raising the taxes to do that?
nah. You can just-
So, wording such that, shall the town designate lot 408/129 consisting of 19.53 acres
Conservation land.
on Mount William Pond Road as conservation land.
Yep.
Correct.
So, Steve's motion, Lori second. Any further discussion on the warrant concept for a,
So you're scratching the as soon as possible or pending conclusion of. We're just
Right.
putting a period right after land.
Yeah, cause it looks like even the town could sell that today and just take the chance that they have to hand over the proceeds.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, they would if they sold it for more than what it's
Mm. Yeah, what they owe, right?
Yeah.
It just seems like it becomes free and clear after, you know, the town gets all of it after the 3.
Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain? Duly noted. So that's Michael, Lori, Steve, Andy, Sherry, ayes, Bill, nay. Any further comments, concerns to be offered on that item? There being none, anything else, Steve?
Yeah, let's just copy Article 25 from last year. I think it reduced the amount back to like 25,000. I don't think we're gonna need 30. So if we directly copy this from last year's warrant, shall the town raise and appropriate the sum of 25,000, which will be a decrease, to allow the Conservation Commission to secure contracted services with a licensed forester for forestry services, including plan updates, harvest layout, harvest management, forest inventory, invasive species control, and other related services. Now here's the other problem, got cleaved off because someone, I think, cut and paste. I would say and supplies, including gravel, gates, I'd just say and maintenance, you know, land maintenance related supplies, including signs, gravel, and gates. Just
Yeah.
tack that on there. And fund this appropriation by authorizing the withdrawal of that sum from the town forest account. Because I think there was an accident last year where that got taken out.
Then it starts raising questions and,
Yeah.
no, it's smart to go that way.
Was
So-
that directed at me?
Did you do that, or who did it? I forget. You did it? Yeah.
Yeah, because didn't make any sense to me at the time.
Yeah, I didn't remember that it was you.
It was me.
Okay. You can blame it.
I'll own up. It was a screw up.
Now you got it now, right?
Oh, man, the heat I'm feeling here. Whew.
No, we're good.
So do
We're
we
good.
need to second that?
Should we, say including but not limited to signs, gates, gravel?
Or
Otherwise,
maintenance
And other
related supplies.
maintenance relation.
Yeah, maintenance related supplies.
all right. For the sake of Michael, would you read through how the addition to the end of Article 25 from last year should read?
Sure, I have copy Article 25, last year's warrant for $25,000, and submit with the addition of land maintenance related supplies to include sand, gravel, and gates from the town forest account.
Well, sand, gravel, signs, gates, and other maintenance
Not to
related
be
supplies.
limited to.
Yeah, I mean, just any way you want
If
to
you
word
say
that.
not to be limited to, but you leave it to maintenance, it allows you to add whatever other maintenance crap comes in. Whereas if you are very, very specific, then somebody can get wormy and say, well, you only said those 3 things.
Yeah. All right, Steve has a motion on the table, and we had the second, did we?
Yep.
Lori was seconded. Further discussion on putting forward another warrant to allow usage of town forest funds. There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That was all in favor.
Okay, and then just copy Article 26 verbatim. We didn't buy anything, we used the town forest account. Shall the town forest raise and appropriate the sum of $150,000 for the Conservation Commission, kind of worded funny, expenditure toward the purchase of new town forest land and fund the appropriation by authorizing withdrawal of that sum from the town forest account. So it would just be keeping the checkbook open for the year. All we're doing there.
Do we need a motion on there, or can we just do that?
The motion would be just to resubmit Article
Second?
26 verbatim.
We've got a motion, seconded. Anybody unclear on what we're doing on that one? Any discussion? There being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
Right. I'd motion that we resubmit the exact same Conservation Commission budget as last year.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
You're on a roll tonight.
Ah, it's just that annual stuff that we've got to do. Yeah,
You clear for a moment, Steve? Or do you have any others?
I'm done.
Didn't you want to raise a question about what they can and can't do on their purview from the Board of Selectmen?
It's actually kind of late now, but we
But it
sent that out.
should be something
Yeah.
that should be cleaned up and straightened out so we don't run into this going forward.
Well, it had to do with the nice article that LGC wrote that essentially said the Board of Selectmen had, by designation of the Conservation Commission and Town Forest Land, essentially don't have any rights, or very limited rights.
Who did that?
Board of Selectmen, like for signing, you know, so I mean, that's almost like something to discuss in a joint meeting. I don't know if anyone felt that,
Yeah.
I mean,
Overstepped the
that article
bounds.
made sense, I mean, which was kind of what I was saying before.
Did that article go around everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, it was from,
You said that was LGC?
yeah,
Yeah, you should probably bring it back up, get put on the agenda and go in and talk to it.
well, if we ever had that joint meeting, I mean, I don't really care if we never have that joint meeting,
But
honestly.
we were
but-
supposed to, and they were supposed to follow up on it, and they never did.
Yeah, I mean, we got it to the point that we were asked to, you know, get that statement of work to the board. Nothing ever happened, so if someone says something else, it's like, I'll send it to you. But that has nothing to do with the town purchasing policy, just to be
No,
clear.
no.
That has to do with more like, you know, the trapping requests. We're the only ones
We're
with the
supposed
authority
to
to sign
handle
that.
that,
Yeah.
not them.
Right,
And the
right.
same with designating what you can do to that land.
Just write a quick email to them and to Naomi and ask her to,
I think they send it around. I don't think they really care what I say. I'd rather just have it in a joint meeting. I don't wanna write any like, I mean, I can express my, you know, that was a legal opinion. It had everything in it. You can go find another attorney that might give a different legal opinion. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of my historic understanding of how town forests are supposed to operate.
I checked with other towns, and they're under the impression that they
Yeah.
have authority and the Board of Selectmen do not.
Yeah.
I hope none of us forget that the people in the town of Weare have the final say.
Well, they already did, though. That's the problem. That's how that all relates. That when they voted in, you're right. I mean, they can unvote it with the
I
town
would hate to
forest.
think that 5 or 6 people would restrict people from using the property.
No, I don't think we're talking about using the property. I'm talking about the,
making
just the actual who
decisions.
signs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, well, yeah, that was that other discussion that we, I felt like no one ever really kind of understood what I was trying to say.
I understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, with deer baiting, because New Hampshire's rules are really quirky, you know, compared to.
I just don't think that our personal beliefs have got anything to do with the management of the land in the town of Weare.
Yeah, I don't think that's a personal.
Laws do,
No.
not what we think, what we feel bad for.
I think
I
you're
hope
right.
we never restrict. I really am.
But Bill, it does come down to personal, because
No, it
each one
doesn't.
of us has a
The law is
different
the law.
attitude towards it.
The law is the law.
Yeah, I
That
think-
law is subject to interpretation.
Yeah, I'm coming at it from a totally different perspective. It's not.
I think the two of you are. You're a hunter, I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective has just got to do with it keeps, you know, we give it to
I
you,
just
it
hope
keeps somebody else
This
out.
board doesn't sway off its path and start being restrictive.
It historically never has.
I believe you 100%, Steve,
Yeah,
and I just hope it stays that way.
yeah. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
well, that's a tenuous thing, because
yeah.
it all depends on
Who's sitting on the board?
who's
Probably.
Sitting on-
carving out a little time to sit here.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
And, yeah, the commission's
The philosophies
nature and
run hot and
philosophy
cold.
and sensibilities, sensitivities can change.
Mhm.
I'm very comfortable that we've, as a commission for years now, over the decade I've been involved, have been pretty
God,
even
you're
keeled.
fortunate.
And I know we don't necessarily get credit for that. We're sometimes viewed very differently, and that's unfortunate, but it's also understandable.
Yeah, we even walked away from some projects because of that, Bill. You know, like remember how upset we got, Forest Society and it was because of that mess that
Russell
they,
Foundation.
Yeah.
And we're,
they were
I
ticked.
think this board has done a great job
Yeah.
through the years.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
hopefully
I know,
we do,
but
hopefully we
I'm
do it
just
right
hoping
and
that
it, yeah.
That it continues.
Yeah.
This is still Weare, New Hampshire. It is not.
Well, that's,
It's not Manchester.
That's true, but you do
that's
have
something I
people
think we all
coming
want it
in.
to be, and that's very important. I agree.
Yeah. I think the main point, though, was just where the actual signature authority is,
Mhm.
not,
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. You should know, and you should have a clear understanding,
yeah, it was pretty concise.
and unfortunately with any board, what this board may know today, the next board won't
Mhm.
in 5 years.
Well, that should go in that manual, though, in the conservation manual. It may have language in there. I think that's where I learned my understanding of it in the first place. But this was even a more detailed synopsis from LGC.
Anything to do with volunteering boards like this,
Yeah.
It depends on
you forget as much as you
gain,
learn.
yeah.
You know, as the
Time
change
goes.
of personnel.
There's some good corporate knowledge here.
Yeah, no, and we've had waves of other interests come kind of washing through and dissipating. We're still here.
Yeah.
We're still here, and that's a sentiment that's purposeful. That's not accidental.
Yep.
And like you say, all it takes is, a different creed to come
Predisposition, and
Yeah,
that can
and
happen
if we're not
because it's
willing
human
to-
nature.
to stay with it and keep track. Then yeah, it can be different. Can be very different. But let's do the work. Let's understand the angles. Let's, take the lumps now and then and
Yep.
try to stay consistent in what we do as a commission, as a group of individuals who represent something bigger than ourselves. Absolutely. If I may, one last item. I told John Champy that we need to think about his proposal. He and Cora came in and talked with us, talked about their property, talked about their hopes for it. I think we owe them a conclusion, one way or the other.
How many acres was that? I forgot. So like 10 acres or something?
14 acres.
14?
14 acres with an improvement upon it, off the grid,
Mhm.
with a valuation per tax card of about 64,000, with a building value per tax card of, with improvements, say 32, and a taxable land value of about 32. So,
And what's their proposal?
They didn't tell us.
Because that should be in the records when we're
Yep,
talking
the
about it.
they offered that to the Conservation Commission on acting for the town at the assessed value of 63,867. We could round it to 64.
That would be nice.
It is in an area with limited access. I'm just trying to think, we have other parcels in there. Have we designated parcels town forest in that area, Steve?
They're small.
There are conservation parcels that have, actually, it's a couple of them are on town rolls
Mhm.
for back taxes that were designated conservation. There, that are close by. There was a purchase, we've had 3 purchases in the area.
Yeah.
And this is a second one that comes with a building on it. This one, a little bit more substantial than I'll call it the Octagon House that is in it's a dwelling on our conservation property that will be making its way down to the earth gradually.
So we do not maintain these buildings or have some idea that we're going to make them open to the public and refurbish them and,
No,
We
I,
talked about burning it, didn't we?
we talked about it, didn't get anywhere, but that doesn't mean
Well, could
we
you-
got a no on it, but it's,
I don't know exactly. I haven't been up in there for quite a while. I mean, I was up there a couple times when they were actually living there, but it's been quite a few years now, so I don't know. You could sell the building and have it taken out on, I don't know. I just
From-
haven't
from
been up there.
I-
They grown in.
yeah, John invited us up. I was not available
I wasn't,
when he was
no.
available. I've been by it, I have not been in it. But we're not interested in buildings. They don't do
Good.
things for us.
no, you're right.
Someone,
The other point Steve brought up, just in summary, is, it has an easement on it. I think, was it the land trust or something to that effect?
Is it
It's a
wildlife?
wildlife trust or something to that effect. But, yeah, there is, if we're looking at an area and what makes an unbroken area of land, prime habitat, one of the things is, people are pretty light on it. So there's another side that says, well, if you purchase it, then it's no longer a dwelling, it's just a building, and the
Mhm.
the critters up there have no people to move around, they just have a structure to move around. I think Bill mentioned the possibility of just looking at the land value. So we're at a point where we can tell John and Cora, thank you, we're not interested, thank you, we are interested, or thank you, here's a counter proposal that shows our interest in the land and not in the building.
Well,
And,
What's the final cost? If you button this down, what's it come down to?
you mean closing costs and other things in addition to?
Yeah, what are we looking at?
Well, we're, just in round numbers, we're looking at 32,000 placed value on improvements and 32 on raw land. So
So
that's a 64.
64,000.
There are always closing costs, attorney's fees and things like that.
I mean, we're not really interested in the building. I don't know if they'd sell it to us for just the land value or not.
We
So-
we could, if we want to, we could make that counter offer.
so you guys are missing part of this.
Yep.
The reason the land value shows up in there is because the building's on it.
Because of the what?
Building, because Avatar would have to assess that as some kind of a house lot.
Yeah.
Then the rest of it would be current use more than likely, it's under the easement.
Right.
So, I mean, just my perspective is there's no rational reason for the town to purchase anything that has a conservation easement on it by someone else. It's already protected. It's a mess because you got a house, we've already demonstrated we're incapable of dealing with another structure.
Right.
The neighbors are hostile. They are hostile as heck. They all showed up in here telling us we couldn't use the road and they were gonna go after us. And yeah, I mean, so it's like an old hippie commune or something, and they basically don't want anybody going down in there, which was kind of ridiculous.
Well, you said there's already another group on it.
No, there's already an easement.
An easement, so if
Yeah.
somebody else already has the easement, why do we want to tangle with that?
No, I wouldn't.
We
Just
have a
We-
lot of
we-
other
we owe the folks who
creativities on our
are-
property.
We just owe them a response.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, and that's the thing that we cannot, just kick it down the road without coming to a conclusion. And that,
Right.
we don't owe a purchase, we don't owe anything other than a good,
I think I would
reasoned
side with
response.
Steve's suggestion of, if there's somebody already with an easement on it, we don't want to get, we have enough creativity going on our properties as is.
wouldn't be a good use of, $60,000 of town money, that's for sure.
is there a price point where it would be worth any?
I don't think so, just because
I
of
mean,
the cost.
we bought land up in that area at $1,000 an acre. That
Yeah.
was something, that was a,
Did it have
Yeah.
other easements on it?
No.
No.
I mean,
did it have frontage? No.
have
So
to-
you could look at it all sorts of ways.
Yeah, you have to get rid of that house, that's,
Because
Well,
that
then
is a
it's okay.
liability.
yeah,
Is it a liability?
I think so.
Somebody gets in there and starts a fire or end up burning
You
up.
get squatters or somebody does something to it, something
Drinking it.
happens, we are the
Gets
title
shot up
holders, it's
there.
a whole different,
I don't know about a liability in the
I
true
wouldn't-
sense of liability. I'm
I
probably.
wouldn't
with you
think
on
so,
that.
but,
But I think it's just
So
something to look
if
at.
they were to say, would you take it for 14,000, would we have any interest?
I wouldn't.
Still got,
Mhm.
it's still
Yeah.
under an easement,
It
right?
is, yeah.
And
Now,
isn't
what-
that-
Easement is wildlife though, isn't it?
You can't develop it though.
If you can't develop it, then I don't see
I
that.
don't see any sense in
There's
us
any
getting
reason.
involved. If that's a true statement, that they can't, it can't be developed, then.
We could look up the deed, but, yeah.
Yep.
Because if somebody already has an easement on it, that easement controls, even though you own it, they
That-
still have full control on that, and
Well, where
that's a
we-
major
I think
headache.
The night he came in here, the easement was actually on the wildlife.
Just on the wildlife.
Hunt.
Let's try-
Can
try to
you
look it up.
explain that a little bit
No
more,
hunting
please?
and fishing.
No hunting, no anything
Yeah.
allowed on any of it.
Okay,
So that maybe that's what.
That was the only take I had on it as
Yeah.
far as,
We can look it
I
right
don't
up.
think it's developable just because of where it is.
Mm.
Well, you could always rebuild the same
You could
footprint.
rebuild the same piece, yeah.
I would just make the counter argument that you do, from a conservation value, have less value for any one of us living in a place. If we're looking at a, presence of vehicles at a,
right,
if you take a large piece of property and you've got just one person who's living in the middle of it, that one person has a certain amount of baggage that we bring with us. And in most cases, the wild value is somewhat,
correct.
somewhat limited or reduced by a dwelling, by an operating dwelling. In other cases, some people could say it's an enhancement, that you're, maybe you're keeping a meadow open or something like that, and that's a wildlife enhancement.
All right, here's the easement right now.
Well, Andy, do you have a feeling for it? Would you like to see us do something with it? I mean, you've asked us, what do you think?
I guess I would view it as a price point. I would think they're, at the bare, really, sort of making something out of nothing in a sense, but a real good deal to the town is to, own backwoods property at 1,000.
Yeah, if it's
$1,000
not
an acre.
expensive, I could see where that would make, it wouldn't hurt us, and if there is an easement where you can't hunt, we've got enough land that other people are targeting. God
Well,
knows
that's
there's
an
enough people
interesting-
that own
Now,
their
you
own
mentioned that,
land.
Lori.
You won't be able to hunt and
Right,
fish.
would, yeah.
And
That is
happen-
that's not really consistent with what,
But it does happen in a lot of towns, when they get those things, they do have that, and they all survive because they want to have that land protected, and sometimes you have to give a little to get something.
Retained forever as open space in its natural conditions in order to prevent any future use of property that will significantly impair or interfere with the wildlife habitat values of the property.
Does that mean in English?
You can't do anything with this
Can't do
property.
anything with it.
so if we became aware of somebody doing something with it who doesn't honor the easement, then we would have to
Do something about
do
it.
something about it.
Yep.
Right.
You lost me. This is Humane Society owns this easement. We wouldn't have to do anything. We've got
Are they
nothing.
better than we are at
Oh, God, yes.
monitoring it?
No, I doubt it. I don't know. But no, I mean,
don't know.
that's,
It's hard to, the strength of an easement is in somebody being
Who's
aware and
holding
keeping
it?
track of it. I just
Right.
don't know the easement holder and whether they're for instance,
human-
if it was a spin-off easement, I'd say no problem, because I know
Right.
that they are really,
it's the Humane Society. I wouldn't get tangled up with them for any of them.
Why would they have done that?
They've obviously liked animals and what the work they do, so that was why they did it.
no, I am,
Our house is in a trust, and yeah, my land's protected, so nobody can do anything with it. No animals are hurt on our property, absolutely not. And that's just me.
Yeah, but they could have stated that in the regular trust, that there would be no hunting and fishing.
Why don't, does it
or
even say that
trapping
in it?
Or whatever.
I wonder if tax-wise they get a break for an easement.
Well, if you can't build on it, obviously, you know, you're probably gonna get a tax break. Be like putting it into current use.
Folks, here's my concern, my interest. My interest is that we have a thorough, solid vetting of our position,
Mhm.
and we present that to the folks who came to make an offer to us. So that John and Cora are left with a clear answer,
Mhm.
a reasoned answer, and one that makes them feel like their offer was given
Consideration.
due consideration, that it wasn't, you know,
Michael, you
wasn't
have anything? you wanna
forgotten or
weigh in on
wasn't-
Over there?
wasn't considered. And I think we owe
Yes.
a consideration, not a purchase, that's for sure.
I would throw this at the board of thanking them. And because of the current restrictions on it, it already is protected as sort of as well as it can be.
Hmm.
We would take the gift of it
Would we?
if it ever came to that.
Mhm.
I don't know, why wouldn't I?
Well, would we have to monitor it then? Because isn't that what the same issue is down on Cortland Ave for that piece in there?
No. No, we wouldn't be the easement holder, so we wouldn't have to monitor it, but we'd have to deal with the easement holder.
But-
I would suggest this thing wouldn't even be worth touching whatsoever
okay.
with the baggage that goes with it. It's just, I mean, really, if you wanna, clean up the property, suspend, which we haven't done on the other one, and then deal with that
You could
particular,
have a bonfire, couldn't you?
depending on what the materials are.
You know what? What is rot but a slow motion bonfire?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
the same end result you get there, so it takes decades. What's the harm?
Eons, that's true, but,
What's the harm?
you know.
And just I'd be curious, in the past, you're speaking of the properties in that area, that's conservation land. Has there been any issues with that land?
Yeah, the neighbors all came in there and were extremely hostile.
Well,
Why?
that's
What is the
one
neighbor's
issue.
problem?
The second issue is, there are people who don't respect the boundaries.
And they might
There's a
move in.
history of squatting in that area, and it could happen again. So yes, any town conservation property, could be usurped in a fashion. This area, and Steve has described it somewhat, has that sort of history. So it's something we should be vigilant for all our properties, because sometimes folks just kind of move in and say, this is what's gonna work for me for
People feel
now.
they're entitled until they're told
And-
no.
And sometimes they come to the town and the town doesn't get everything right, and telling them, you know what, no, actually, that's town property, you can't cross the town property to get to that back lot, you can't put a road through there and drag your trailer out in the woods.
Yeah.
Sometimes that word does not happen, so,
That wasn't all of it, though. They came in with some legal opinion, and we're talking about that we couldn't use that road.
coming down from above, yeah.
That
Right.
the town, we, as a conservation commission, could use the road, but people accessing the properties couldn't use the road, or they were gonna come after us. It was just like,
That was unpleasant, for sure.
really unpleasant, yeah.
Do we want that kind of headache?
No, I would tend to agree with Steve that we've never had a concern for that parcel.
Yeah.
Maybe we could find another one that's a little less contentious as time goes on.
Well, it's already protected is my thing, so why would you even get involved? That's, other than them asking us if we wanted it.
It was very kind of them, and we greatly appreciate it.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think, like anybody, you're sort of looking for two things when you have something to sell. One is you'd like it to be treated kindly, and the other thing is you'd like to get a little something for it.
Mhm.
So, I appreciate the offer.
Is that the way you feel?
Yeah, I was initially under the thought of I wouldn't mind purchasing it, but I also don't know the history of the area, and having the easement, that'll protect it anyway. I mean,
It already has in place what we would do with it if we bought it.
Yeah.
Right, that's the
So
thing.
it doesn't need to be bought again for
Right.
that same purpose.
Right.
With scarce funds, I mean, it's not like we're,
And the animals are protected. Nobody's gonna be up there hunting, fishing, not legally anyway.
I saw a beautiful buck come out of there about 8 years ago. Just a gorgeous creature. Not necessarily that parcel, but from that area.
Yeah.
So it was, frankly, it was an, it was a delight. It was an honor to see such a fine creature come down from the hill.
You mean
So-
walking out, or was it like being dragged out by someone that whacked it?
I think-
No.
When we say a buck comes out of there, we're usually
No.
thinking like dragging it out,
That's
right?
no. It wasn't. It was dragged. It was canoed, and then it was dragged again.
So it was.
It was
It got shot.
harvested.
Okay.
It was harvested. Oh, indeed. And there was no hesitation on my part for admiring that animal after it had been harvested. Now, yeah, I would have admired it beforehand, but I don't have the time and patience to be out there to see the things that those who are, doing that work are doing. So, this time of year, so perfect conditions for some healthy harvesting. All right, so this is not something that requires a motion, but I've heard everybody weigh in. I really appreciate that. So I will craft an email back to John and CC everyone on it, saying thank you, but for these reasons, and as we discussed at length tonight,
It's being protected.
we will not be taking you up on your offer.
Mm-hmm. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
All right. I appreciate everyone being here and everyone speaking and everyone contributing. And remember, one thing is, we're not looking for unanimity of opinion. We're not looking to go in lockstep, but we are looking to treat people and treat projects and treat proposals as even-handed as we can, as respectfully as we can, and it'll make it a volunteer job that's still worth doing. So thank you all.
I have one more thing. We had the annual,
Approve minutes at all?
probably.
But
We
we
have
don't-
the
we
one
don't-
more, the annual beaver trapping request that comes in on the Chase land, I believe. We okayed that, but then there was the second trapping request it was either town or conservation land,
Right,
and we were gonna
right.
have him come in and tell us why he was gonna be
What's up
trapping.
with that?
I believe,
They got
Um,
from Goffstown,
right.
right? Or Dumbarton.
And why can't we do it humanely?
Are we talking about the one that's been trapping on,
Yeah.
Wood
it-
property, or?
But we're
We-
not
we
talking
were
about
good with
Woods
that.
property. You know what, Michael, I don't think I got back to him on that,
Okay.
frankly. I
Can
think I dropped the
Can
ball.
you do a little homework on that?
Just for those who weren't here last month, the proposal was, sign my permit for trapping a portion of Felch Farm because an abutter has too much water on the property and feels like beavers on the town forest property need to be removed. I need access to town forest property to remove them.
Somebody's gonna walk out there and verify it, don't they?
And so that one
Well,
I
we
did
have
not,
to come in.
I did not sign.
There does come a point in time where, if you have water on your property, you have trees, that's life in having land and water and trees and all that good stuff, and we are not the stewards of our neighbor's land.
Yeah.
These animals don't read deeds, and they do go around, and if we live out here, animals are going to continue to wander and roam, because that's what they do.
The other part of that is I'd have to go back and refresh my memory, but is the damage trapping, are the rules different? Because you do, generally if you're a recreational trapper, you're not trying to clean an area out. So if we give the guy a green light on damage trapping on town forest.
Right, is it damage, is it nuisance? And,
Right.
and that was a case where I think we did the right thing, we didn't approve it, but I didn't get the communication out there to say, hey, if you're serious about this, we need to talk face to face, not just, here's
Yes.
another thing for us to sign.
He was
without-
looking to do it out of season as well, so if he had something he'd still like to do, reaching out might not be a bad
Oh,
thing.
it
still
is
need
damage
to-
trapping, absolutely.
Yeah,
The other thing you guys want to be really aware of, in case I'm not here, is that, don't ever let anybody pull a beaver dam this time of year, because it'll kill the turtles that
Oh,
are,
yeah.
that are hibernating.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, all the way in, from now till they can't really get adjusted probably much beyond October, you know, and, so basically from then till about
April, May.
spring thaw.
Which was, you know, which was a big piece of why we marshaled the funds and worked with Fish and Game to get that check dam in
Yeah,
for
cause
the-
it was
for the-
killing all kinds
for
of
the
stuff.
Lake
drawing
Horace
that
Marsh,
down.
so it wasn't, so the marsh wasn't being dried up every winter.
Yeah, yeah, kinda make it into a dead zone doing that.
Right. Good point, Steve, and as much as I got a full plate, thank you for reminding me on that one, Michael. And important things to, when people bring a request, is let them know that if we're not approving it, that, you know, why we're not and what we might need to consider, what we might need them to consider also. So I will try again.
Yeah, I'd like to see us maybe send an email to Selectman and Naomi just asking, like, what are we authorized to require? Because I'd really like to see, like, any special use permit, whether it's maple tapping, you know, trapping, baiting, whatever. I mean, that they actually come in and say what, that guy Glenn, he was really good about that. I mean, he showed up, like, he's kind of a repeat customer. I think it
Right.
was Glenn, right?
Yes, and that's
I mean,
just
he explained the whole thing, we talked to him, it was a little contentious, one of the board members got really upset about it, but, you know, we approved it, and he's, you know, he's always given us like a report, worked out pretty good, you know, and he was always using that,
He does a lot on the properties.
yeah. But, you know, it was good just to say, hey, here's what I plan on doing. If someone has questions about, you know, how humane are your methods, I mean, you might be using conibears, which snap their necks, or, you know, and people have questions about that don't understand it or whatever, it's a good time to ask.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I don't know why you gotta kill all the beaver.
well, you don't kill them all, but,
Don't make them kill.
You know what, they,
Plenty of people.
too late for this discussion, I gotta go, he said we're leaving at 8, it's 9:00.
hey, I didn't say a thing, I thought it, you heard my thought.
You're an hour late.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
I would-
Ooh, excellent.
Second.
Snagged that one pretty good. All right, all in favor of adjourning
Aye.
8:55, say aye.
Aye. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.